Sampang Madura sejak Jumat lalu akibatkan banjir hingga
yang tergenang banjir sejak
Jawa Timur. Banjir yang terjadi di Sidoarjo, Jawa Timur menghambat jalur transportasi kereta dan berbagai prasarana.
Plastics is all around us. It's throughout your home, workplace, and even schools. And sometimes when you look around and notice that you've been so attached to the use of plastics. More and more plastic waste are piling up that become a great global problem to most countries all over the world. Floods, water and soil pollutions, animals endangering, to even disruption of ecosystems are just small examples of disaster that we can see out of this plastic waste. It takes up at least 450 years for only a bottle plastics to be degraded, not to mention all the toxins that it can expose to the surrounding environment. Our country, Indonesia, is the second highest after China in producing the most plastic waste in the world. It has been stated that the amount of plastic waste in our country is equivalent to 60 times the size of a soccer field. Our government recently has been striving to deal with this issue, starting from the classical ways such as recycling to even issuing a cost regulations on the plastics in supermarkets. But we still have a problem. What about these plastic waste that are already piling up and scattered on the ground? What can we do about them? I believe when it comes to environment, it becomes our whole responsibility to take care of. What you give is what you gain. What happens to our environment is because what we do to our nature. As a health worker, it has been the art of our care to take care of the most basic cause of all diseases, which greatly comes from our environment. We have to be aware of what happens to our environment that sometimes by only health promotions might not easily change the behavior, so why not directly deal with the waste instead? Recently, there has been a fast-growing research about plastics-based oil. By condensation, we can turn the steams that comes from the plastics into oil. This process is also called as pyrolysis. However, this process is not yet efficient and still requires a high energy, therefore a high cost of processing still needed, and still produces a lot of toxic gas such as carbon monoxide. To fill in the gap, I'm going to propose the use of catalyst. Catalyst is known to increase the speed of chemical reactions, therefore this may provide a great potential for the processing of plastics into oil. Zeolite is well distributed in the nature of Indonesia, and also it's very avoidable. In 2002, it has been found out that zeolite can be a good candidate for a catalyst. Therefore, my aim is for this catalytic cracking to happen with the use of catalyst zeolite, and I'm also going to propose the use of zinc metal into this zeolite to increase the quality of this catalyst for a much more efficient process. Basically, the preparation of zeolite catalyst comprises three major parts. The first one is the mixing of zeolite into acidic solution, which is hydrochloric acid. And the second one, we're going to dry them up, and then we're going to impregnate the zinc transitional metal into this zeolite to make sure that we increase the active sites of the zeolite catalyst. And the third one is the last one, which is calcinations. After all these three major parts, we're then going to analyze the zeolite catalyst with the FTIR to make sure that it has been well made and is ready to be used as a catalyst. With the aid of catalyst bed reactor, we can add this catalyst into the bed reactor so that the catalytic cracking can happen. The plastic beads, which earlier have been washed, dried and cut into pieces, will be heated up at such temperatures to produce vapor, where this vapor will go through the bed reactor so that it can interact with the catalyst. And at last, this vapor will go through the condenser so that it can be converted into final oil product, which is diesel. By this catalytic cracking of plastics, we can gain three kinds of benefits. First one, from the time efficiency, from the environment, and at last, from the economic side. First is from the time efficiency. Of course, by using catalyst, we could improve the acceleration of the chemical process, and it has been stated that the zeolite catalyst could increase the process up to 235%. It means that from the usual 2 to 3 hours of process, we could reduce the time to only 51 to 77 minutes. It also means that a short time of processing means larger capacity of the processing plants. It also means that we could absorb more plastic waste from our environment, making the clearance much faster. Second is the environment. Of course, by absorbing more plastic waste from the environment, it means that the further we are from the danger of plastic waste, we could save the landfills that were used to be piled up by plastics. And of course, we could maintain and nurture the soil fertility, and we can maintain the marine life. Not to forget that this catalytic cracking of zeolite can also reduce the emissions of toxic gas such as carbon monoxide, and it would produce much higher quality of final oil product, which is diesel, compared to the conventional pyrolysis. And the last one, the third benefit, is the economic. This catalytic cracking with the zeolite will benefit not only the government but also the community and the manufacturers or the processing plant. First, by using catalysts, of course, it will not need too much energy. This means reduced cost for the processing of the plastics. The second one is that our community can earn money from only selling their plastics waste. Let's say by simple calculation, the manufacturers needs about 70.5 kilograms of plastics per day. It means that the community can earn about 141 million rupiahs per day from only selling their plastics waste worth of 2,000 rupiahs. And the third one, not to forget, the diesel that comes from the plastics can be sold again. And of course, from this, the government and the manufacturers can share about 162 million rupiahs per day by only charging 9,200 rupiahs per liter of diesel comes from plastics. And the last advantage, of course, it will reduce the unemployment because more workers for the manufacturers and zeolite miners will be needed. Only we humans make waste that nature can digest. If we are about to limit the use of plastic bags, they will still be piling up anyway. So taking care of the termination is very important instead of just turning them back into another plastics. Because plastic pollution is an enemy that we raise ourselves. So if you don't kill it, it will kill you.